The rain hammered against Marcus Chen's windshield as he navigated the downtown streets, his 7-year-old daughter Emma humming softly in the backseat. It was supposed to be a simple trip to her piano lesson, just another ordinary Tuesday in their carefully constructed life. But fate has a way of shattering ordinary moments, and what Marcus saw on the corner of 5th and Madison would fracture everything he thought he knew about his past, his present, and the woman he'd once loved more than life itself. There, huddled beneath a torn cardboard sign, sat a figure so familiar yet so transformed that his heart stopped before his mind could catch up. Sarah, his ex-wife, the woman who had walked out on him and their infant daughter 6 years ago without a word, without a trace, without mercy. And she was begging. Marcus pulled over before he could think, his hands trembling on the steering wheel. This couldn't be real. Sarah had come from money, from privilege. Her father owned 3 car dealerships. She'd grown up in a world where struggle meant choosing between the Hamptons or Martha's Vineyard for summer vacation. Yet here she sat, hollow-eyed and gaunt, holding a sign that read, "Homeless. Hungry. Anything helps. God bless. Daddy, who's that lady?" Emma's voice cut through his shock. Marcus's throat tightened. Emma had been only 18 months old when Sarah disappeared. She had no memory of her mother, no connection to the woman who'd given birth to her. He'd kept a few photos hidden away, waiting for the right time that never seemed to come. "Stay in the car, sweetheart," he managed, his voice barely steady. The rain soaked through his jacket as he crossed the street, each step feeling like walking through concrete. Sarah didn't look up until his shadow fell across her. When she did, the recognition in her eyes was immediate and devastating. She didn't cry out or reach for him. She simply closed her eyes as if preparing for a blow. "Marcus," she whispered, and her voice was the same voice that had once whispered she loved him, that had promised forever, that had gone silent in the middle of the night 6 years ago. "What happened to you?" The words came out harder than he intended, edged with all the anger and hurt he'd buried for Emma's sake. Sarah's laugh was bitter and broken. "Can we talk? Not here. Please." Her eyes darted to his car, and he saw the exact moment she realized Emma was inside. The pain that crossed her face was so raw, so genuine, that something in his chest cracked despite himself. 20 minutes later, they sat in a corner booth at an all-night diner while Emma remained with Marcus's mother, who dropped everything to help when he called. Sarah had devoured a burger and fries with the desperation of someone who hadn't eaten in days, and now she cradled a cup of coffee like it was the most precious thing in the world. "I have cancer," she said finally, the words dropping like stones into still water. Have. I don't even know anymore." Marcus felt the world tilt. "What?" "I found out I was pregnant with a tumor the same week I found out I was pregnant with Emma." Sarah's hands shook around the coffee cup. "Stage 3 ovarian cancer. The doctors said the pregnancy hormones were feeding it, making it grow faster. They said I had to choose between the baby and treatment." The air left Marcus's lungs. "You never told me." "Sarah, why didn't you?" "Because I knew you." Her eyes met his, filled with old pain and older love. "I knew you'd tell me to fight, to take the treatment, to save myself. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't kill our baby. So I chose to carry Emma to term and hope I'd survive long enough for treatment after." Marcus remembered those months. Sarah's mood swings, her distance, the way she'd pulled away from him physically and emotionally. He'd thought it was pregnancy hormones, maybe cold feet about becoming parents. Never this. Never anything like this. "I made it through the pregnancy," Sarah continued, her voice hollow with memory. "Emma was perfect, beautiful, healthy, and the cancer was everywhere. My father offered to pay for treatment, but only if I gave Emma up for adoption to a proper family. He said a dying mother was worse than no mother at all." "That's insane," Marcus breathed. "I thought I could do both. Keep Emma and fight the cancer. But the treatment was brutal, Marcus. Chemo, radiation, surgery. I was so sick. I couldn't hold her without vomiting. I couldn't nurse her. I could barely look at her without crying because I was so terrified I'd die and leave her with nothing but memories of a sick, weak mother." Tears streamed down Sarah's face now, but her voice remained steady, as if she'd rehearsed this confession 1,000 times in her head. "My father made me a deal. He'd pay for the best treatment in the country, experimental trials, everything, but only if I left. He said Emma deserved a father who could give her a stable life, not a motherless existence or a sick mother who'd be a burden. He convinced me that the most selfless thing I could do was disappear, let you move on, let Emma grow up without the trauma of watching me die. So you just left. Marcus's voice cracked. You left us both. I left you a letter explaining everything. I put it in your jacket pocket the night before I went to the treatment center. Sarah's eyes widened at the confusion on his face. You never got it, did you? Marcus shook his head, mind racing. That leather jacket. He'd thrown it out when Emma was 2, unable to bear the scent of Sarah's perfume that still clung to it. The treatment worked, Sarah continued. For a while. I went into remission. But I'd signed papers giving you full custody, cutting off my parental rights. My father said it was cleaner that way, that coming back would only confuse Emma. And I was so weak, so convinced I'd done the right thing, that I stayed away. 6 years, Sarah. 6 years of Emma asking why she didn't have a mommy like other kids. I know. Sarah's voice broke completely. The cancer came back last year. Aggressive. My father cut me off when I refused more treatment. He said I'd already made my choice to die when I kept the pregnancy. I lost everything, Marcus. My health, my money, my father, my daughter. My will to keep fighting. Marcus sat back, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. This woman had sacrificed everything, made impossible choices, suffered unimaginable loss, all while he'd hated her for abandoning them. The anger he'd carried for 6 years felt suddenly hollow and misplaced. Emma asks about you sometimes, he said quietly. I told her you loved her but couldn't stay. I never wanted her to think she wasn't wanted. She was wanted. Sarah's voice was fierce despite her tears. She was so wanted that I chose her over my own life. I'd do it again, Marcus. Even knowing how it all turned out, I'd choose her every single time. The silence between them held 6 years of pain, misunderstanding, and love that had never really died, just been buried under layers of hurt. What do you need? Marcus finally asked. Nothing. I just need you to tell Emma that her mother loved her. That's all I came back to this city for, to see her one more time before she couldn't finish. Come home, Marcus said, surprising himself. Not to me, but to Emma. Let her know her mother. However long you have left, let her have that. Let yourself have that. Sarah's eyes widened. Marcus, I can't. Yes, you can. We'll figure it out. Treatment, doctors, everything. But Emma deserves to know her mother, and you deserve to know your daughter. What Sarah revealed that rainy Tuesday had indeed collapsed Marcus's world. But from the rubble emerged something he'd never expected. Forgiveness, understanding, and a second chance at family. Not the family they'd planned, perhaps, but the family they'd been given. And in the end, that made all the difference.